chat. So the May 26th hearing, the Westborough Conservation Commission is in session. I need to read this notice first. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Westborough Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by visiting http://westboro.tv.org/public-channel/live-stream-public, or despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the Town of Westborough's Conservation Commission webpage as soon as possible. Okay, and the first item on the agenda is a hearing for request for determination of applicability, Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority, MBTA 40 Smith Valve Parkway, map 19, parcel 96B. Who is the representative?
Hi, this is Holly Palmgren from the MBTA. How are you? Thanks again for holding this special meeting. I have Dan Kanata on with me, who's actually going to walk through the proposed work.
Okay, you have the floor.
Great, thank you. Is there a way to either share the screen or show what we've got for our latest plan for the site?
Do you have access, Dan? I think I let everybody have access to share screen. So if you don't,
yeah, there should be a button on the bottom.
There it is, okay. In bright green. There we go.
All right. If that doesn't work, let me know so I can do something else. Oh, perfect.
Okay, so this is our site here. This is adjacent to the existing MBTA station on Smith Parkway. The area outlined in black is the proposed site of work, and MBTA is proposing to clear vegetation in this area ahead of future planned expansion of the parking to increase capacity at the station. The vegetation removal would only involve cutting the trees. There would not be any earth disturbance associated with this, or any grubbing of the root systems or remainders of the trees. Additionally, erosion and sedimentation controls are proposed in red along the limits of work. The work is going to take place in the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands to the south and east, and to bank of a connected intermittent stream to the west. There's no work proposed within these resource areas, and the intent is to submit this tonight as a request for determination.
Questions from the board?
I drove out there today, and it looked like there's wetlands down in between the parking lot and the lower south, well, on the way this map is oriented, it's the southwest corner. But I don't see those on this map. I mean, I saw cat o' nine tails and all kinds of stuff.
So I think this area here, immediately off of the existing parking. Okay. This area was constructed as a stormwater feature previously. I believe that was in the late 90s. Holly, correct me if I'm wrong there, if you have any background on that.
It was before my time.
Yeah, we have a filing for it. It's when they expanded the parking lot a little bit, Stephanie. And there's another basin. You can almost see it on the most southeast corner, that little bald spot, is another sheet flow basin. So there's two on site.
Okay.
And where these are maintained stormwater features, they are not technically considered jurisdictional, so we did not indicate them on the plans. That said, there is no work proposed to be within those basins.
So where's the runoff going to go from this new parking lot?
So at this point, we are coming before the commission really just to discuss the vegetation removal. The parking lot design is still in development and
Okay.
would be presented to the commission as part of a NOI at a future date.
Okay.
Is there any I have a
Go
question.
ahead, Jerry.
Thank you. Is there any chance that this isn't going forward?
No. Sorry, this is Holly Palmgren. There is a plan to get this done soon. I mean, my hope is that, we're filing the NOI hopefully late summer. There is funding available for the parking lot, and I know the local representative and senator are very interested in this moving forward. So there's, support and funding to get the final parking, the actual parking lot piece of it built.
Okay, I am inclined to deny this. And the reason I'm thinking is because this is not a project. Why do this, have it split from the actual NOI process? It makes absolutely no sense to me that you're proposing it. We usually see an RDA for a project. This isn't a project. Makes no sense. You have to explain it to me and justify this in order to get my vote to approve it, frankly.
So I know that we had discussions with Jordan about this beforehand and about putting this in. The reason the T wanted to go through with the clearing as sort of a first phase is because there is currently funding that needs to be spent out there that we can use to do the clearing, but we don't have the final design for the full project yet. So we're not ready to come before you with a full NOI filing for the full project. But they wanted to sort of get a jump start so that when we are ready to do the NOI and the filing for the full parking lot, this piece of the work is already done.
So you just happen to have the money, is what you're saying to me.
I think I went on mute. It's not just the money, it's the people available to do the clearing work and to try to there's been a push to get this parking lot moving forward. And so this was a way the T was addressing the local legislative body's concern of wanting to get this project moving forward.
And I'm sorry, could you go over the time frame again for the rest of the project?
So I don't have the full time frame, but right now it's expected that we would be coming in hopefully late summer, early fall with the NOI for the parking lot with a full parking lot design and drainage.
And does that represent a new fiscal year with new funds for that purpose?
The new fiscal year would start July 1st, yes.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Tim?
Tim, we can't hear you.
Tim, you have any questions?
Tim? You gotta speak up.
I think you're on mute, Tim.
He's very faint.
Hold on.
You're muted, Tim.
No, he's not muted. He's very faint.
He's just really, really faint.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I guess I'll get up closer to my screen.
You may have to.
It's your speaker. Your microphone.
Check your audio control. Tim.
Yell louder.
Control. Oh, okay, hold on.
That's better.
That was better.
Almost here.
Pardon me, I'm sorry for my technological illiteracy.
Yeah, you're being received better now.
Is that or worse?
That's
Let
good.
me minimize this. Let me minimize the screen and then trying to go on to the next person, and I'll try to straighten this out.
You are the next person.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
My question is this to the chair. Putting aside the question of whether the method that they're presenting this, and I agree with your reservations about how this has been fragmented into two pieces. I guess are there other reservations about the actual application of the law to this parcel? I noticed, for example, that although that this whole drainage structure goes off the property, and I believe it goes over into Hockomock. And so I guess I'm concerned we're being asked to look at this as a fragmented piece of work affecting a very isolated property, when in fact the drainage on this property goes into the Hockomock pond. I believe it does. I mean, if I followed I went down there today and followed this drainage structure off the parking lot and then over to this outlet right here on next to the road. And I believe that goes across the road. If it doesn't, I'd like to have that clarified. Because that's a reservation I have in addition to your reservations, Andy, about the appropriateness of the whole project.
Or anybody can address that?
I'm going to change this. Hold on.
So
Dan,
in terms of the existing drainage, I would need to confirm what the connection is to the pond.
Yes.
And I know it's about 650 feet or so to the north, but offhand would not. I'm not sure what the existing drainage conditions are with the piping there.
Well, may I share my screen?
Yes. There we go.
If I look at this, I'm trying to bring that forward.
Yeah, if you do this in a phased approach and you cut down all those trees and then we end up not being able to approve the work going forward because of drainage or whatever, then you cut down all those trees for no good reason.
If you can see, I don't know if you're following me. I apologize for my ineptness.
Did you click the share screen button?
I did.
Okay.
And it walked me through. There's my desktop, and I'm trying to share it. Open. I'm looking at the same. I'm looking. Proposed PDF, and as I say, the wetlands that are delineated on here to the west, all of this to the west is a drainage swale out of this water retention area here, and I believe that terminates here, and then I believe that it is connected to the larger.
Well, I can answer it, actually, Tim.
Yeah.
I have a plan. If I'll share my screen. Give me 1 second, sorry.
You see what I'm talking about?
So this is from when they did the expansion on the parking lot.
Right.
This is the stormwater detention basin that Stephanie was asking about.
Right, and there's.
This is where the wetland drains into. There's a
right.
open drop inlet, dumps into a manhole, goes down the street, dumps into another manhole, and then comes out and goes into Hockomock Pond from there.
That's what I thought. That's what I'm saying. And if this is going to increase all of the off-site flow onto the Hockomock property, to me that's a concern. If you're going to create impervious surface here, and you're going to be creating additional burden on the wetlands, not on site, but off site across the street and on the pond. I have that as a concern. I think it needs to be addressed more thoroughly in a NOI. I don't think a request for determination of applicability is the mechanism to have this tested. That's my concern.
And Dan and Holly, I can email this plan to you if you give me a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And again, the intent would be to, if there is going to be an increase in impervious surface out there with the new parking area, there would be stormwater considerations with that. A stormwater memorandum and checklist would be produced as part of that NOI, and those issues would be evaluated in our approach to the final design.
If there's a final design, this isn't a slam dunk that this project will get funded.
And if that consideration comes at the cost of maybe reduced parking spaces, maybe it's not as advantageous a project as a result. So we can't evaluate it. We can't evaluate those questions unless we see a plan. And you can't either.
I don't know.
I mean, I understand the concern. We have a time frame given to us to have this new parking lot constructed within the next 8 months is the time frame we were given by the legislative bodies to build the final parking lot. So again, this was to try to, do this clearing work now, this fiscal year when we have the time and the money so that we could then come back with the NOI, because I don't have that NOI information available at the moment, and I won't have that until probably, August or September timeframe.
Okay. Well, my concern is this is not a project. That's the problem here. For me, I can't speak for the rest of the board.
Do you have any estimates on how much time it would take to clear that area? So in other words, I understand your argument for wanting to save time. The money is a different issue, but that's not a huge area. Are you saving just a matter of a few days? Maybe you can make up that time later after July 1.
I don't know exactly how long it will take to do the clearing. I think from a timing standpoint, it maybe only buys me a few days. It's or a week or whatever. I think it's more on the budgeting and being able to get that advance now. So then the next pot of money comes along for the actual building that doesn't come until the next fiscal year for that piece.
Understand. Yep.
Well, I agree with Andy. I think this is the cart before the horse, and I never liked that arrangement. So I wouldn't vote for an RDA. I would have asked for a full NOI on this. It's a lot to be thought of. I understand the legislative pressure. The legislator has never once appeared before the Conservation Commission, or as far as I know, any of the other planning boards in town to discuss the status of this area. And what we're seeing is the whole place is nibbled. We had it nibbled in the 1990s when they asked for an expansion of the parking. This is more nibbling on. And it's unnecessary. You have plenty of space there right now. You could put a parking garage in there like they did in Ashland, and the whole problem is resolved forever, and make money for the MBTA. So I don't know what you have the authority to build a parking garage under the parking authority given to you by the legislature. So I would suggest you consider that rather than taking up more open space and creating more wetlands problems. So,
and just to let you know, there was a call. I don't know now, Sherry, it's probably been over almost a month with the legislative body, as well as somebody from not just Jordan and Sherry, but also someone from your, thank you. I couldn't remember what his position was, but so there was an outreach with the community and the legislative folks to talk specifically about this project probably a month or so ago now, before we meant to talk about this.
Okay. I'm wrong then, but I didn't hear. I personally haven't seen that agenda, so I don't know. I don't get things here in Italy very well, so.
Yeah, they discussed the project. Jordan and I got to ask some questions, and then Jim asked some questions. He wanted to see this go before the planning board as site plan approval. However, I'm not entirely sure that it will be because they are exempt from doing that. So that was some of his concerns. He also expressed concerns about the tree clearing hours, time of day, as far as the residents and tracking on the road, and where you're going to store the trees during the process. So we kind of discussed briefly some of that, but we thought as it went through you folks, maybe you could add some conditions to the RDA to control some of those.
There's nothing on that piece of property that can't be chewed up in a grinder. I mean, it's all crap. It's all popple and small, insignificant second growth trees. There's all of the, I don't know what was over there before. I think there was a cement factory in that area at one time, and some railroad sidings and other things, but I don't believe there's any. It really could be handled with a chipper, and why you would even need a logging truck or anything else is really beyond me. We've seen chippers work very effectively and clean up a site very quickly. So I don't see. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned that this is the camel's nose under the tent, and as I say, we'll end up with drainage problems being created by this, and then there'll be an addition to that, and there'll be an addition to that, and we're looking at a chain of insignificant events considered individually, but considered together, turn into a problem.
Anything else from the board? Hearing nothing, I need a motion to issue a -3 determination of applicability to Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority for the tree and vegetation clearing of a portion of 40 Smith Valley Parkway, Assessors Map 19, Parcel 96B.
Second.
Who
So moved, sorry. So moved.
Second. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it to you, Stephanie. It's always a competition here.
I know.
Okay, roll call vote. Kelly Marston?
Here. Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Stephanie Kelly?
I say nay.
Tim Buckaloo?
Nay.
Joe Cushing?
Nay.
Yay or nay?
No.
No. Andy Kenningsberg? No. Motion
I'm a
fails.
no too. I'm a no.
You did say no?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Yay and nay coming. So unanimously voted no. We would like you to come with the full NOI for the entire project.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night. Okay, the second item on the agenda is a discussion of the West Park Drive extension for Caruth Capital. Have people seen that plan?
West Park Drive.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble opening attachments for some reason. It keeps telling me that I need some kind of application, and I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I had that problem too.
I can share it on my screen if you'd like. Give me a second to find it.
Was that in our Dropbox?
Yeah, Jordan and I changed Dropbox over a little bit, but yeah, we revised it, and it should be in there. But I should have it right. Okay. I think this is my latest. Oh, I lied. Please hold. West Park Drive. There it is. This is the latest and greatest. I get it.
Oh, there was a revision after.
I'm not entirely sure. I just know I just got this after we went for a site walk last week.
Okay.
So I want to, if there is a revision, at least I know I'm doing the right one.
Okay.
So let me just scroll down to, okay. So this is West Park Drive. I guess I'll explain it briefly. It ends in this bubble cul-de-sac up here, and then there's a driveway that goes down to 2200 to service this building here. I don't know if you all can see my hand. And then the plan is to continue this dirt path, which is kind of like a mowed area, all the way down and out to Flanders Road. This will be going between 118 Flanders, and then I've totally lost what number Flanders Road this is. This is the 134 Flanders. There we go. So that needs to be a little bit wider down here for the fire trucks to get in and out. And they're going to put a light here. Those have been some of the concerns. So they're going to hug the wetland a little bit here. The other concern is that the whole entire section of this, instead of having a sidewalk, which meets subdivision standards, the planning board, they've asked for a variance to do a bike path sidewalk instead. So their plan is to start down here, have the bike path sidewalk go up this side, and then it will cut into the woods about here where the original bike path is proposed to come across anyways, ride that for a touch and then come up. So I will scan down to show you that. Okay, so this is the top of the bulk. So the black line is the bike path part. They will need a variance to do the whole project from the commission because they are going to be in the buffer, the 20-foot no disturbance for a lot of the work, but most of this is already previously disturbed other than this section where this veers off right here. I could probably make this bigger for you all as well. Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was so small in here. Would you like me to go back up to the top again or no?
Sherry, is this area immediately to the north of the West Park Drive? Is that the area that we were looking at previously for parking lot expansion from the properties off immediately again to the north?
You mean the already the NOI we just did for
Yeah.
So that is right about here.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very similar area. Yes. They haven't started any of that. They've pretty much stopped. Maybe because of COVID-19. Who knows with that? So this is a potential vernal pool up here. I've been standing there. It's a nice little area. It was probably a farmer's pond at some point, and now it's just taken over with wildlife. Where they're choosing to go, we walked the whole entire area just about. It's wooded, it's nice. It would be a nice path through there. Right about here where it says lot 2400, there's a lot of pine trees that have fallen over, and it's kind of would clean it up a little, not that the animals mind. The tough part about this whole entire stretch is that they're hugging the 20-foot buffer the whole entire time.
Yeah, and that part of it I talked with Jordan about, and I didn't get it at all, why they would do that and have 90-degree turn down where it crosses the old trolley line right away. You know, I drew them a map where I just basically had the thing, you know, arc down the middle of that open area and then gently go into the turn there. It just made no sense to me that they would hug the 20-foot line.
So
I don't know what the reasoning was for that.
The first draft I saw of this, when we had talked about suggesting it, they didn't hug it. It went straight down and kind of sloped in. So
Yeah.
They just came back with this, and my only thought is that they have been in discussions with the fire chief about putting a fire station up there, and maybe they need to hug it to get the access road for the fire station. But I don't think they're coming that deep into the lot of 2400. So I don't have a good answer for that, but it will be something you can ask.
Yeah. It just doesn't need to hug the wetland line there.
I don't think so either, and it's kind of a nice little wetland. It gets a little yucky as it gets down towards where the Shell oil easement is. It's more like a drainage ditch that just collected water at this point. But up in the other part, especially under the bridge, so this is already an existing bridge, which you all permitted. Jeez. billion years ago. This other side is a wetland restoration for mitigation for building the bridge. So in this area, it's a nicer wooded wetland, basically, with a free flow that kind of meanders through the whole thing, and then kind of goes under the road here and then gets into here. So as it goes, so it gets back out here. This is just upland. There's no wetland that it's affecting there. Gets back onto what is already. This is it within the forest, but then back here it's already existing driveway. And they told me that this is probably going to all get taken away, this asphalt. But who knows? They might come back and ask in there too. So, and then it keeps going down. Sorry. It's too far. This will be a detention basin for the road that they're going to build close to the wetland. And then the bike path and new road will hug this upland area.
What's with all this hugging?
I miss it.
Be proximal to the road. Yeah. Okay.
Then it's going to come down. It crosses the road and it's going to be on 3400 side. This gentleman doesn't really want the road at all, necessarily, even though it might help with getting in and out of his parking lot. But so the bike path is going to be on his side so that he doesn't have the road on his side, so we can save some of the big trees that he has in that area. This is another detention basin that they dug some test pits for, but it's just a wooded area just before it drops off into this wetland system in here, which was pretty much flood storage for when they did like 1800 and 1600 Flanders Road. And so they're going to have drainage runoff already go into here. Right now on the banking, it's bittersweet and poplars and multiflora rose. It's just garbage invasives on the whole embankment going down towards Flanders Road. The only part where they're going to affect is down by the opening. This weir right here, I don't know if you've all seen it when you drive by, there's a big giant concrete weir. They'll need to come into that stream that comes out of the weir, probably 6 feet, maybe a little further, and hard pipe it to just make the road just have good access. They mow it and weed whack it basically every year anyways. It's pretty much only vegetation just because of soils. It's not awesome vegetation there. It's like grass and some mustard oil, not mustard, garlic mustard. And then there's a bunch of poison ivy. Question?
I don't know. I saw this was approved by the planning board. So it's already, is it already under construction?
Oh, no, they have to do a whole full notice of intent with us.
Okay.
You saying it has been approved by the planning board?
Well, I saw, or if you scrolled up, I thought it said this plan has been approved by the planning board. And, or maybe, okay.
No,
Oh, no. Okay, that's just where they do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting ready for it. Yeah, they just put that for the Mylar. Yeah, I don't believe. I know they've been in several meetings and back and forth quite a bit.
I got to get my hands around this and go out and look at it. It's too, my brain isn't cooperating with the map. So.
Yeah, but I really don't like all the hugging that's going on. You know, those bylaws are there for a reason, and they keep encroaching. That doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, on the first large scale plan, I just do not see the reason for them to be hugging the 20-foot no touch line. There's no need to do it. In fact, it would make biking the trail a little bit more difficult, especially getting around that turn, the trolley line right away. So, are they asking for feedback on this, Sherry?
You know, I have to say I'm not entirely sure why Jordan put it on. I thought maybe just to review it again with all of you. I know we reviewed it in the field. They have to file a notice of intent in front of us, and I haven't seen any inkling that they're ready to do that yet.
Okay.
I was
No.
wondering if I had,
Well, you can let them know we don't like it so far.
this might be the one I was talking about that they did do. Nope, that's not it.
Well, there still may be a reason why they're hugging,
There it is.
quote, hug me. So I think we should pose the question and see what they
Right.
come back with.
This was the first draft that I saw, and personally, I mean, it's up to you guys, but this I thought was much less hugging.
Right.
They cut in a little here, but they don't have to. And that was for this access road for this parcel.
Where they might build a fire station, or that's just
Right.
for
They
another
might
lot?
have their future use. It's not big enough for them to, you know, how Caruth likes to do big buildings. It's not cost effective for them to put a small building there.
Yeah.
So they're talking about the fire station, but that may never happen either. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't want to bind themselves where now they need to come back for another variance by something they've already built.
Yeah.
And this part up here, I swear that's only wet because it gets the runoff from what is that, 1900?
Yeah.
So, and we talked about that in the field where if they're going to do this, maybe they would look at 1900s drainage and just correct it a little bit so that it didn't run off as much. Yeah, but
Well, and what was that you were saying down towards the end of the road about them going into a stream?
so this area, here, let me get the actual plan. Here, back up. I can blow it up, I think. So here, this whole wetland system behind here takes a lot of the water from West Park Drive, from Flanders Road, from Freiburg Parkway, all the way to, it even goes under 495 a little bit. And so it fills up quite a bit. And so there's a big giant concrete weir to keep it from just flooding out Flanders Road completely. So it trickles out of here. And it goes through this little, what used to be riprap and now is no longer, little riprap area, and then under the road, and then goes down out into Cedar Swamp. So to do this turn, you can see they have to cut into where that trickles over. So they're gonna fix the head wall, which is basically doing this now anyways, which would need to be addressed because it's going to fall over. Fix the head wall, put in another pipe, probably sleeve it with the other one, and then pave over it and have that area. And then also have a little bit of drainage that'll sheet flow off into it from riprap because they can't catch grade to come back up and they can't add any more to Flanders Road. But if you go there, you can almost pull off right here where it's got that stop sign. There's enough, if you could pull off one car. We parked along the side of the road here, and you can walk the whole entire path, or go down and park at West Park Drive and walk that way. And you can see most of it's pretty user-friendly to get what they're gonna do there. They might be 10 years out from actually building this, but they want to get the plans going.
And just as another concern, you know, that's what we get. That's what they pay us all the big bucks for, is to be concerned all the time. This is all going to be affected by the improvements at the 495 Route 9 interchange. All the drainage that comes in through this area comes from that a lot of it comes from that interchange. Is that true? So I mean, I don't know whether they're going to impound more water up there, or go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think that the cutting the curb that way is going to change the diameter of any drainage that's going through there right now, because it does, right, Sherry? It goes into. It looks like what does it say?
It's a
5.
I can't even read it myself.
I can't tell, but it's a big RCP pipe.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says 15.
Okay. So they're not going to impact the ability of water to exit from the wetlands up there then.
I'm
Right.
gonna pull this over. Oh wait, it didn't actually. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Just to give you, this is where the 495 interchange is gonna be going.
Right.
Cumberland Farms, and this property is up here.
But the drainage is all from
From up here,
495
so-
and
Route 9.
south. Yeah,
it's a
Route 9 south.
on the drainage here.
Yeah.
It's gonna fall into there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much coming down walk up drive, and all of this is where our biggest, this whole area, it doesn't drain right. It's beavers, it's flooded, anytime there's a big event, this gets real flooded real hard, and then over for Flanders Road coming
Right.
out down in
Cumberland
here.
Farm.
Yeah, this just, it can only take what it can take, so. And this will add drainage that will jump into this section over here with the new impervious, but they do have some beefy detention basins proposed. Yeah. So hopefully, and I haven't seen stormwater calculations or anything like that, so hopefully their plan is to actually have no new water convey into this system if they can avoid it by adding really decent sized systems. And that would be what I would suggest to Fung and the engineering department, that be their comments, that this part of town just can't take any more drainage, just can't. So anything they're proposing needs to stay on site. It would be.
So it's premature to think about doing a site walk, or we just every tub on its own bottom and we go out, and if we want to, we walk it ourselves. Is that what you're saying, suggesting, Sherry?
I would walk it so that you're not shocked when it comes, because it might come in June or July and we just don't know it. I don't know how far along they are in the NOI process. I mean, they could have it all prepared and just haven't dumped it on us. So yeah, the more familiar you get with this, because I think you all should have some good conditions on this, and maybe some good concerns. And we all know that you're going to get some push to be as close to the 20 foot as possible, if not in it. So yeah, I'd walk it and see that wetland and see the wetland that they want to get into. So if you're seeing this edge, we'll see the value here versus the value in the middle of the forest up in the other slide.
Can you email us this map or
yeah,
portion of it or something?
If emailing works better than Dropbox, I can absolutely do that. So yes, I will email that to everybody in a second. Let me get off.
Put it in the Dropbox too, please.
It already is.
I couldn't find it. I just looking for it, but I'm in the middle of the electroconvulsive therapy, so I can't figure out what's going on.
Jordan's got his own Dropbox link.
Yeah, now.
Okay, well, I'll sort it out later.
So yeah, I don't know if you all are aware that we now have a general email account called Westborough Conservation. Geez, I wish I knew the actual email address. But that's where the new Dropbox came from, and now anybody can email us on that. I think it's
okay. Good.
Yeah, what's that? Remember,
can we send an email to Caruth saying we really wish we wish you would not hug the wetlands up there as shown on plate 2?
Yeah, I'll go over this meeting tomorrow with Jordan, and then we'll draft an email to Dan Feeney and copy Mark on it, and just let them know. We'll copy you as well.
Yeah, I did give Jordan a screenshot of the PDF where I highlighted, just using the highlighter feature of one of those photo editors to just change the whole thing to a curve, so that because I didn't see the need for it to hug the wetlands up there.
I don't know why they did that. I showed you the first one. That's where I thought they were going, and it wasn't until we went to the site walk and they handed me a plan. I was like, oh, that's different.
Yeah. I told Jordan the other day that when there are public hearings about this, and certain bike trail proponent's going to show up, and he's probably his head's going to explode, because it's not wide enough. It doesn't meet standards, and it's like, hey, the thing's on private property.
Yeah.
Is this all part of that whole big bike plan that we were looking at that went on to
No.
50 million
No.
different maps?
No,
It'll connect to it, but it's not physically part of it. It's, if it ever gets that far to get built out into that section, then this will be great because it'll already be built and it'll connect West Park Drive and Flanders Road, and people can go left and right and up and down.
I was
But-
just wondering because it just seems like it's riddled with problems, just like the other one.
Well,
other plan.
this section will need a tunnel under 495 first, so we'll see how fast that happens.
Wow.
this is just mostly an amenity for Caruth. So,
Yeah, it'll help them. And anybody who would like to bike through that parking lot, I mean, that
Parking
area.
lot.
well, I've actually, because I work at 1900 West Park, and occasionally I've tried to, to get a little bit more exercise. I go home that way, and what ends up happening is you have to go through a section of woods, which is full of poison ivy. There is a little trail through there, but I have said to myself, gee, I wish they'd connect these two parking lots together. So, but neither here nor there. No. Anyway, okay, so you and Jordan will take care of sending an email to Feeney. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else from the board on that?
Oh, thank you, Sherry.
Okay, the next thing is a discussion of the ownership of the proposed open space associated with the Ridings 2 subdivision, DEP file number 332902. Do you want to explain that? Sherry?
Yeah, so we just had some communication with the planning board because they're getting ready to make their final decisions on the Ridings, and then we can make ours. And they were curious as to who wanted to be the grantee of the open space. They weren't sure if it was Sudbury Valley Trustees, Westborough Community Land Trust, or us. Well, it's not going to be Sudbury Valley Trustees because it's being gifted to the town, but they thought it was the Westborough Community Land Trust, and I had thought we had a meeting and discussed that you all wanted to be the grantees on it because it backs up to the Libby parcel, and then we can create actually having access to the Libby parcel without going through other parcels. And possibly having off-road parking for that trail system, which is my favorite trail system. It's very nice. So Jordan and I just were thinking that if we had another discussion about it and possibly a motion, just so that we are very clear as to if we wanted it or not.
My recollection is the same as yours, Sherry. I recall that we discussed it, and there was a great deal of interest on the part of the commission in retaining that care, custody, and control of that property because of its relationship to the Libby property, and would increase the effective size of the Libby property by what, 40 acres?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a substantial increase, and it's a good piece of property, well drained on the south side there. I think it's valuable, and I don't know why you would give it to the land trust. They're great. They do a great job in stewardship, but that is an area that we want to be expanding into, I believe. Is that right, Andy?
That was my recollection of the discussion. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any record in any of the meeting minutes about it. So I'm not sure where that disappeared to.
I know it was like one of those discussions where they weren't in front of us for an NOI, because I remember Gary talking about the off-road parking, and I'm so sorry it didn't make it to the meeting because I went back to 2017 looking for it and I just couldn't find it.
Okay. Well,
what's the difference between us having it and the land trust having it? I mean, are we going to do something different than what they would?
So now my understanding is that the commission is going in towards, instead of doing stormwater and DPW, which was more Derek's thing, that we were going to move toward actually managing our own property. And this would be another property that abutted our property, so that we could start building our own trails and being better stewards and having an actual program for conservation versus just doing filings and stormwater.
Yeah, I just think in general principles, the land should go to the Conservation Commission.
What,
Yeah.
who decides that? Who determines that? I mean, if both groups want it, then who makes the final determination?
Well, they're a private entity, so I would believe that the town would get to choose. If we didn't want it, they would go to another place. But if we voice our opinion, I believe the town would get the property and then give it to somebody else.
Yeah, in other subdivisions, and I look at Silver Hollow, for example, we could have taken the open space there, and we decided not to because the quality of it was poor. So I believe it stayed as private
Homeowners association.
homeowners association,
Yeah.
but I think we get first pass on that stuff.
That one also is going to have a giant septic system on the open space, and I don't think we wanted to be responsible for it.
Yeah.
Anything to do with it.
Stephanie, I think the big difference is the quality of the law. The law, if it is actually deeded to the Conservation Commission under Chapter 40C, I believe that then to do anything to alter the conservation nature of the land, they would have to go to the legislature.
Yes.
And have to have a 2/3 vote of the legislature, 2/3 vote of the Conservation Commission. In other words, it's just got more layers of legal protection. If it goes to the Westborough Community Land Trust, it also has protections, but if they have to turn around actually and give a conservation easement then to somebody else that they don't own in order to make sure that it has the most protection. It's a more complicated mechanism for ensuring that the land is protected. That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but that's.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right, Tim.
Yeah.
And it's just simpler. We can also delegate, like we've been talking about. We can delegate some of our authority if we want to have them, help us build trails with the Boy Scouts or develop amenities over there with other, public organizations. We don't have to micromanage it, but we should have a stewardship plan for it, I believe. The same way we should have a stewardship plan for every piece of property that we own. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. I think if you need a motion, have you got a motion?
Yes, we do.
Andy?
Yeah, if there's no more discussion.
No, I'm good.
All right. So I need a motion to allow the Conservation Director to draft a memo to the Planning Board on the Conservation Commission's behalf, stating that the Commission's preference is to be grantee of the open space parcel associated with Zero Harvest Way, the Ridings 2 subdivision.
So moved.
Okay.
You don't usually delay.
I'm slow on the uptake today.
Second. Okay. Kelly. Roll call. Kelly Marston.
I agree.
Yes.
You call me first. I don't know what I'm supposed to respond.
Yes or no? It's a roll call vote. Sure. Present. Stephanie.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Me. Yes. Okay. Anything else, Sherry, you want to do for updates?
Let me just open up. Jordan had 2 or 3 different things. On the Dropbox is some information about mosquito control. They're doing active spraying for larvicide. I wasn't in on any of those emails, but I know there's 2 documents on the Dropbox about that. I think they started last weekend.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I read through that very quickly. You guys are concerned about all the spraying. Is that the deal?
Oh, there was another thing. Yeah, that kind of came kind of for me. So Southborough, when I was on our last meeting, we sent a letter saying that it was too vague what the legislation that they were going to put forward on that there was no sunset clause, that they could it didn't just talk about triple E. And it didn't just talk about mosquitoes, so it could be really used for a lot of different things, and it was just too vague. And so we asked that they revisit that, and a lot of other communities did the same thing. So we sent that out to you to see if you wanted to do that. And Jordan and I did it on our behalf as administrators for the town. But
I sent,
yeah,
I sent emails to the legislators.
it's just not, it's not beefy enough. And I get that it's a panic and it's reactive to what happened last year, but that's not, you can come up with better, I guess. The other thing was that Jordan has for an issue. I'm sorry, is everybody good with that one? Sorry, I just found the issue update. Yep.
Sherry, I understand that it's actually not a spray, but what they're putting out is a anti-larva granular material, very fine, almost like it's coated with something to make it easier to apply, but it's not a aerosol spray the way we think of it. Is that what you understood? So it's not really an aerosol spray like you would see a helicopter flying by with, cloud dust, crop dusting or something.
I don't know exactly what it was, so that kind of makes sense. I know it was for larvicide. It was more the way the law that they were going to try to write.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
I did some reading up on it because I got an email from Carol Fisher, who is in Sustainable Westborough, and she was asking me, she sent me a link to what the mosquito control board is doing, the material they're using. It's actually, the larvicide is actually not a petroleum-based methyl ethyl bad stuff. It is, it's actually certified organic. It's derived from a soil bacterium. And it's used in preparations that are used on pets and also used on people for like, what do you call them? Lice. So
is it Bacillus thuringiensis?
I don't know. I'll send you the link.
I heard something that somebody said. I mean, it's, as you said, it's Omri certified organic material. So, and I don't believe there's any aerosol oil or in it or anything like that. And so it really is specifically for larvae in the water.
Okay. I actually sent a copy of the email that I got from Carol Fisher. I CC'd you on it, Sherry. So I don't know if you want to forward all that to the board. So.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it when you sent that email. I don't like being a proponent or opponent of anything that I don't really understand or know about. So I didn't respond to that.
One of the larvicides, it's called spinosad.
Yeah, spinosad. Yeah.
Spinosad.
Yeah.
And it says, according to the website for it, or from the Mosquito Control Board, it's used in oral preparations to treat cat fleas in canines and felines, or the cat flea in canines and felines, and is in humans for topical application for head lice. It's got a what they call the LD50. The lethal dose is ridiculously high, or the value is ridiculously high, meaning it's the chances of it poisoning you are really ridiculously low. So
is this the stuff that they got from the Caribbean or something like that? That's some bacterium that's only found in one location or something?
I don't know. All I know is it says it's soil derived. So
because I know there was a product that I was using. I think it was for the gypsy moths. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and it was that spinosad. And I can tell you from direct experience, the 2 times that I had I did applications on my trees, I had adverse effects to that, health effects. So I don't know. I used it because of the research that I did indicate that it was pretty benign and it shouldn't be harmful to much of anything other than the gypsy moths, but I can't give you the details of what it was because it's kind of gross. But
Okay.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
I use it on all my crops, and
Do you?
yeah, it's one of the mix of organic larvicides that you use at different times in different parts of the season to control Colorado potato beetles and flea beetles, all kinds of arthropods that go through a larval stage. That when they're in a larval stage, this cuts off their digestive systems. And that could have been what you had, was you killed so many of them that they polluted your air, literally from dying in your air system.
Well, I suppose, yeah, you can think of that.
Yeah, and they're very bad to breathe. I mean, the gypsy moths are the worst. One of the worst things about them is their toxicity to humans from touch or from breathing their frass that they drop when they're eating the leaves. Yeah, we're wasting time, aren't we, Andy?
Yeah.
I can see you have that look on your face. Shut up, Buckaloo.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know we were going to have like almost a full-fledged meeting here tonight.
Oh, it ended up that way. Anything else, Sherry?
Just DPW, the work that they did along Flanders Road, they did hand seed a lot of it. They hydroseeded a touch, but they said the hydroseeder broke, so they couldn't hydroseed the rest of it. They couldn't beef up the riprap because they ran out of riprap. So it's kind of a little bit of a work in progress. I have yet to see the riprap at Haskell and Lyman yet, so we're working with them. But I'm going to go check again on Thursday to see if that got riprapped. So just, they're working on it.
You need a bodyguard?
I do have one question about Sandra Pond. All that riprap that they put around the perimeter of the pond, is that the way it's going to stay?
Yeah.
Because it's really dangerous. I see people out there trying to, because when they're casting, in order for them to be able to reel in a fish or whatever, they have to like try to maneuver their way down those rocks towards the water so that they don't have such a span to be reeling in a fish. So I see people, and I'm just waiting for somebody to get hurt on those.
They did put in, I think, 4 or 5 like stones that they set in to walk like almost like stairs into the water. I don't think they talked, like I don't remember that being part of the plan, but I think afterwards they realized they needed something like that. So there are some spots where you could get a little closer. But
there's a lot of people out there. Every time I drive by there now, they're all over the entire area as far, and they're spaced out so that,
I mean, remember what it used to look like?
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I just see that being a liability if somebody twisting their ankle and breaking their ankle down there or something.
We could put a use at your own risk sign out, maybe.
I suppose. I mean, it looks beautiful. Every time we drive by there, they're like, "Oh, this looks so much better than." But I see those people out on those rocks, and I'm like,
"Well, I mean, those aren't going away."
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's.
I mean, you see people fishing off of jetties in the ocean. Yeah. Crawling over boulders 2 or 3 feet, 4 feet.
That's true. I just the liability went through my mind, and I thought, I just figured I'd bring it up because I see people out there all the time.
Yeah, well, it's I mean, that's recreation department land.
I was gonna say, you guys, it's not your land either, so.
Yeah.
It's water department. It's actually water department.
Yeah, it's DPW.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
The last is that this week we're going to have a discussion with the Mass DOT and Hopkinton to choose how we're going to do the meeting for the I-495, I-90 interchange with all of us. So we'll probably have more updates next month on that. That's all I got.
If there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn this meeting right now.
Okay, I have to roll call it. I'm sorry. Kelly?
Yes, I Agreed.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
me, yes. Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you all for organizing this.